Bob?
Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good.
Yo ho 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 and welcome to HanAutoBob's Baseless Blabbering session number 1. This time I will be talking all about why the online events in One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows, are bad for the players and the little community that surrounds the game. It's weird if you look at how the first wave of online events went by in March. You could ignore them all without missing anything of importance. Either you were a player that already played enough to be at max level with a huge cash stash, which means the items you could get would be worthless to you. Or you were a casual player, that might have been happy to get some valuables to sell, money or XP boosts. But in that case you probably wouldn't have had the patience to play this game for hours on end during these events, just to eventually get a decent amount of chips to get some of those expandables. I don't know if Bandai Namco is calling the shots for online events or if someone at Spike Chunsoft is in charge, but they turned it around quite a lot for April. In March the Hero Revitalization event didn't need too much time. All it would take to get to the last rewards would be roughly 1.5 hours. Maybe 2 hours, probably more if you didn't just unlock the final mission as soon as possible and goofed around a lot or had problems beating the AI. Reaching the 5,000 tickets with the final mission giving 240 tickets per clear wasn't too bad. But like I mentioned before, that changed quite a bit. Reaching 5,000 tickets with only 40 tickets per clear, means you need to fight 6 times as many battles. As a rough estimate, I was able to get 1,000 tickets in about an hour, so it was 4 hours plus however long it took me to unlock the final mission and reach the first 1,000 tickets. The first 1,000 tickets surely took me a little longer than an hour. While we had only a weekend in March, in April we could drag it out over 10 days, but it was an annoying change nonetheless, and it only served the purpose of increasing the time it would take players to get the final rewards. If you think that was already a lot of trouble, those 1,000 online chips were still easy money. At least compared to how much work you would have to put in when trying to be successful in the other events. Prepare for trouble and make it double, since the online trader now carries clothes that cost 1,200 chips, and if you want to have them for both your male and female avatar you need twice as much. Yo ho ho, no, that was not funny. Stop laughing, you retarded man-child. Sorry, I slipped on the keyboard. I think whoever had the idea to separate the unlocks between male and female avatars was a monster. I didn't mind it too much for just costing me more money in the clothing shop. But in the case of online unlocks, well, that's just a dick move. A monster dick move. Yo ho ho ho. It wouldn't be too bad if the other events weren't all PvP centered and if your rewards were strongly based on your individual performance, but no. They had to make it based on the rank you have compared to the other players. The number 1 player gets the most rewards. The lower your rank, the lower your rewards will be. What could casual players do if they wanted to compete with other players that are willing to sink hundreds of hours into these online modes? The casual players wouldn't do anything about it, they would drop the game, if they didn't already long ago. All that will be left are toxic people or sweaty try-hard players like me. Yo ho ho ho. Seriously, these events will push players to the point they will do almost anything to get these limited time items. Of course in fighting games you will always try to win. But it feels even worse if it's not just for so-called honor, or glory or a stupid trophy that needs you to reach rank X in the ranked modes. It feels way worse. More malicious if I dare use this word. Okay, that was an exaggeration, but in all honesty, the current event is not even really an event. It's actually just a trick to get players that would usually avoid avatar ranked battles to play it. They give you some event points so you can rank up exclusive to this event and then get better rewards. Better keep playing, since even the loser gets a point for every lost battle, so if you sleep too much or are just busy not playing these ranked battles, you might end up getting a low rank and less rewards. Anyways, calling this a ranked mode is pretty much a joke, because there is way too much randomness in these fights. If you are lucky you get additional teammates while the opponent has to fight it out alone. Besides that, some of the random events can influence the flow of the battle so much that they can turn a sure loss into a comeback. I mean, for Pete's sake, there are drone drops that just like that instantly recover 50% of your HP. Trying to rank this mess is pointless. Comebacks are of course possible through skill and not only luck, especially in well-balanced fighters, but this game isn't balanced and it doesn't even try to reduce the luck factor during these events. You might think that will be actually good for casual players. Well, think again. Casual players will still be constantly losing, at least if they didn't play enough to level up their custom character. Players that already maxed out their avatar can easily one-shot them with a killer move. So even with all the randomness, they are at a severe disadvantage. The next event will be a tournament mode. The fights are just as random as in ranked avatar battles, but the winners get more goods while the losers are punished harder. Winners will not only get more points for winning, but even more so for consecutive wins. With that, the mode begs you to play it as dirty as you can. Casual players won't be so lucky, since they will eventually use up all tickets and they can't just brute force to some middle field ranks with lots of extra time. If the tickets are all used up, you can't get more and then your score is set in stone. The fourth event didn't even return, but since it was pretty flawed it isn't much of a surprise. I tried my best to look at the good of the game, but the fact most events will not really reward players for time spent in these events but mostly for victories is really saddening. The good is still there, I didn't forget about it, but these stupid online event practices are really getting to me. It makes me angry to see so much bad stuff in one place, especially since that's easier to remember. Also it gets spread easier if something is bad than if something is good. Or at least it will be accepted better. It's easy to distrust somebody overhyping something like blind fanboys do all the time, but if someone calls out negative facts, there is not much you can do about it. My naive part still hopes that the items won't stay exclusive forever and at some point get added to shops their players can buy them for a lot of money, but in reality, I know this is just grasping for straws. I'm done with these events. At the very least if they don't change anything. Of course I would like to have all items, but even the 5+ hours it took me to get the 1000 chips didn't feel like time spent well. Especially since the Kung Fu top was a little disappointing with its permanent red snake that can't be recolored. I mean, I like the snake on it. I would have preferred the option to recolor the snake and not only the shirt itself, but at least it fits with the red and yellow outfit my hero is wearing. It also fits to my change from the 1-inch punch to the spiral snake thrust. Snake thrust. Yo ho ho ho. I am quite the man-child, ain't I? Never mind that, having less control on recoloring the clothes is, and will always be, a negative. That's the end of Hanatobob's baseless blabbering session. Have a beautiful day, unless you are a toxic person. Then go into the next corner you can find, think about what's wrong with you, better yourself, and after all that, have a beautiful day as well. Hanatobob out. Yo ho ho ho.